Hey, I just got back from lunch. Did you finish that report yet?
Well, not exactly. Still working on it. I'm not finished just yet. I got a little sidetracked, but I will get them to you first thing this afternoon.
It is first thing this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I am working on
But
it. I'll have,
what do you mean that the report isn't finished yet?
I'm still in the process of working on it. I've just been a little distracted.
Distracted. Our meeting starts in an hour.
I can have it.
No. What were you doing? Were you listening to another hunting podcast again? I swear, I give the staff in this office the freedom to do whatever they want to do as long as they meet a deadline. That is the first bullet underneath your job description. Pays attention to detail and deadlines. And deadlines. With emphasis. Dude, are you even listening to me right now?
Archery season is sadly come and gone, but your shooting does not have to stop there thanks to Williams Archery's indoor range. They offer hands-on shooting lessons and they run indoor shooting leagues throughout the off-season. Now is also a great time to go get the repairs done that you've been putting off all season. You can also check out their new bow lines of Hoyt, PSE, Elite, Bear, Parker, and more. The new bows are awesome. Tell them you heard about Williams Archery on the Whitetail Distraction podcast when you give them a call at 724-667-9660.
Welcome to episode 19 of the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. My name's Austin, and joining me in my basement for now until it gets warm outside, Charles Headland. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. It's warm. I like it.
Yeah, better than freezing my butt off.
It's so cold outside.
Yeah.
I walked in. I didn't wear a coat here, and you have the door locked every time I come in. I ring the doorbell, and somehow you didn't hear the doorbell, even though your dog barked at me.
I was listening to a podcast. I had earphones in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
good.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, is this guy ever going to answer the door? Or does he just want me to freeze to death out here? And then I thought how grateful I am we're not recording outside in this, because that sucked.
Yeah. It'd have been a little crowded in there anyway, because, the Rack Shack is now the meat shed,
That's a good thing.
Got some deer hanging in there, man.
Yeah,
It'd have been a little crowded.
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything.
Yeah, you did.
I ran them all over with a van.
You finally got some meat in your freezer.
Finally got some meat in the freezer, man. It took rifle season to get it done, but
Better late than never.
better late than never. I'm happy with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You and McCoy both, you were on the edge. You were going into a rifle season with no meat in your freezer.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, bam.
Yeah, it just happened, man. 1 week got one, next week got one. I'm feeling good. It's what it is.
I was excited I got you and Mike out at the same time, even though he decided to go shoot 3 deer in the morning.
Yeah.
At one time, on one push.
That was a hell of a day, man.
Yeah, filled up all 3 doe tags in one push. And then we brought him out to a different area, and you and him both got one.
Yeah.
So I was pumped.
I was pumped, too.
Almost had 2. I don't know
Almost
what
had 2.
happened there.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even want to talk about it.
I'm going for guide of the year over here, and you can't make a shot on a standing still deer.
Yeah, all right, whatever.
It was really far away.
It
I'm
was far.
just messing with them.
It was a poke.
We got a good episode here today, though. I'm kind of excited for.
Yeah.
Through some mutual friends, we got in contact with MNP Outdoors and Casey Pistorius. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he's here in the studio with us, coming from Plain Grove. Not too far of a drive for you?
No, probably about 25 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad
Yeah,
at all.
that's not bad at all.
I was thinking at least a half an hour. That's cool, man. So
25 minutes, half hour is pretty close to each other, man.
I know. I was thinking minimum half an hour. I wasn't thinking anything less than that.
Yeah, it's all good.
Because I've done some work up in Plain Grove.
Yeah.
It's a nice area up there.
It's a nice
Oh,
area.
We were
yeah.
talking
Real
before this. You get to do some of the things that we don't get to do, like shooting guns out your back door.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we go ahead into the introduction part of it? Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody that doesn't know about you, like maybe what you do right now and where you're from.
All right. Well, like Charles said there, I'm from Plain Grove, Pennsylvania. I work as a maintenance supervisor full-time during the week and have a daughter that's highly involved in the sports. So when I'm not hunting, that takes up definitely a lot of my time.
Yeah.
Any other time, I'm in the woods, scouting, hunting, just like that's pretty much all I'm really doing.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get it done, man.
Yeah, working, hunting, and sports, with
like
the
it.
daughter, so.
I didn't know you had a daughter. How old is she?
Yeah, she's 11.
Nice.
Nice.
She's she loves to hunt too. I would say she loves the waterfowl hunting more than deer hunting, but I definitely, she got her first buck last year, an 11 point. She killed her first deer with a crossbow at 7.
That's awesome.
So, and then she started with all the softball and travel ball and all that stuff. So she wasn't able to archery hunt anymore, and got back into the rifle hunting when she was a little bit bigger, able to handle a gun. And last year she shot her first buck.
That's awesome.
I promised her I'd mount it if it was nice, her first buck, and of course it was. So it's on the basement wall. But.
Oh man, that's awesome.
That's super cool, man. It's really nice because we talk about a lot on here about getting the youth involved and getting more people involved in the outdoors, and it's kind of a dying thing anymore with our generation and the generations after ours, that hunting just isn't what it used to be, to people. And it's really good that you're, especially with a daughter. A lot of people, they would think, it's a daughter. Maybe she's not going to be interested or involved. I'm not going to even try. But it's really cool to get not only your kid, but also a female's perspective into hunting, because that's not something you see all too often. We've had a female on the podcast in the past, and I think their perspective is totally different. And it's actually really unique to hunting. And I think it helps the industry, because people see a female and they're like, what do you mean? You like to hunt? You like to do all that stuff? And then I think it helps them a lot. It helps us a lot. Well, thanks, buddy. That was a lot louder. I'm stuffed up, so I'm not screaming today.
Yeah.
Usually I'm screaming. I got to keep the mic away from me.
It's all good.
So how long then, you started MNP Outdoors. How long has that been going on?
I started that July 2017, so just a little
fresh.
over a year. I mean, it was definitely a rough start with the filming. I started it for a hobby for myself. Just for years, I've been saying I need to get cameras, because even if you don't have a harvest, just the things that you experience in the woods, seeing the bears in archery season, seeing really good bucks, you want to get home, tell people about it. So I finally broke down, bought all the camera stuff through Campbell Cameras there the summer of 2017, and I was doing all self-filming my first year, which was rough.
Yeah.
The first night I was out filming, I missed a really good buck because I shoot a single pin sight.
Me too.
And I had it adjusted to 35 yards. The deer was about 20, and my mind was racing to get everything on camera. I never adjusted the pin for the yardage. Yeah. So that was definitely a heartbreaker. But yeah, I mean, it's been going good. It's growing a lot faster than I thought it would, especially with social media and stuff these days. But
no,
it's
that's
definitely
awesome,
starting
man.
to take off.
Heck yeah, man. No, it looks like you guys got a pretty decent following. I've seen some of your videos.
I was watching some the other day. I can dig it.
Yeah. I was thinking about it just from our perspective. I was going to tell this guy here, I'm like, man, we're not going in the woods next year without cameras, because I think it sounds fun, but I'm sure from your end, like, man, it's more of a pain in the ass than you think.
Yeah, it's aggravating, even with a camera guy. I mean, as you guys probably seen the buck that I killed here in PA this year in archery season. We were set up in a tree that, we thought was perfect. And of course, the deer do everything opposite of what you think they're going to do. And that deer came in behind us downwind, the buck that I shot. And TJ wasn't able to get turned around. He offered to be pretty much my full-time camera guy this year. He couldn't get turned around all the way for the shot, and he actually had the camera off because this buck knew something was up because the wind was swirling a little bit. And so, of course, as you've seen, I drew on the buck. He had the camera off, and, we didn't get that shot. So it's definitely aggravating. I mean, it's just, you throw a camera and even a camera guy in the tree with you, it's a whole different ball game, especially in PA.
Oh, yeah,
the hunting pressure and stuff, and then now you got two guys in the tree, camera guys trying to move around you, you're trying to get drawn. I mean, it's it's fun, but it's aggravating at the same time.
Oh man, I can only imagine. That was kind of one thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Did you guys have like a conversation with each other, like, if you're not on him, am I going to shoot? We've had that conversation talking a couple of times, like, you don't want to have the opportunity of a lifetime at a great buck and not shoot it because you don't have it on film. Mm-hmm. So that's always been kind of like a dilemma to me, whether self-filming or filming with a cameraman. I mean, have you ever had like that kind of revelation? I mean, you shot a deer this year on film, but it was kind of, you know where I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a hobby for me. And the main thing is, getting, especially in PA, a good buck down. So Yeah, we talked about, not shooting, not on film, but when the adrenaline's going and everything, I heard TJ in the background. I could hear the camera because we have the VariZoom remote, and it'll go to standby.
Yeah.
And like I said, the deer was taking so long, he was nervous. He didn't want to kind of come right in, so he turned the camera off. Well, I drew the bow, and I heard him saying, no, I don't have him, the camera's not on. I heard it click on, but I had one shot opportunity before he walked away, and, I sent it. It was disappointing that we didn't have it on camera, but,
yeah,
it worked out.
I'd have done the same thing, honestly, man. I'd have let it rip.
Me personally watching it, I respected the fact that you still took the shot even off film because like he said, we've talked about it, and I know that's one thing we've always said. We're hunters first. We're out here to kill a deer before we are filming deer. We're not out here filming. Filming doesn't get you meat in the freezer. So,
and it's hard enough as it is to kill a good buck in PA.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Most of our listeners know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I carried a camera with me all year this year, and I never even took it out of my bag just because I didn't want it to affect my opportunity at a deer. So,
I carried a camera a couple times, and the one time that I absolutely needed it, I didn't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I think your double hang with Anthony, and we talked about on the last episode,
would have been beautiful.
Yeah, that would have been perfect because he was a shooter. You could have filmed some of it, then you shot, and he could have filmed it.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been really neat. Plus, you guys saw a bunch of deer.
Oh, we saw a ton of deer that night. Yeah, it was good.
And you were both doe hunting.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
right.
I don't know.
It was good, man.
Yeah, that's pretty neat, though.
Next year, it's happening.
Next year, I think we need to get
I might be
into
calling you up for some advice, man.
Hey,
sure.
That's all right. I'll help as much as I can.
Yeah.
I'm no expert at it. Like I said, that's we're still learning. That's what turkey season, thought we had that in the bag, and turkey season was a complete struggle trying to get a turkey on film.
Yeah. Our turkeys aren't easy either.
No, not
That's
at
the
all.
thing.
Not at all.
Nothing's easy to hunt around here because everything's so pressured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's tough. I almost did it. We went out, my buddy Anthony and I went out Thanksgiving morning, and we went out fall turkey, and I had my camera on me then, and I felt I was going to film him shoot a bird. We get on a whole flock of them. Well, now we want to double up. So guess what? First thing that goes down to the ground is the camera, and it sits back behind me 10 feet while we crawl up and double up on two big toms. So it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. I want to get into it just because, again, I don't want it to affect us, but I think it's going to be cool to get some kind of video out there for everybody to see, maybe more of a visual what we're doing, But I also like your intro. How'd you guys come up with that?
I just wanted to, I just kind of threw stuff together, honestly.
Yeah.
I had my buddy, he has a drone. He's part of the crew too, Richie, but he's kind of behind the scenes. He's a little bit older. He don't want to, be on the camera. He's worried about getting busted by deer. He's kind of the trophy hunter,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't want to be on camera, but so I talked him into bringing the drone out, and, he did all the drone footage for us and threw in some ideas, and I just recapped some of the clips that we had from last year and threw it together just so that way every time I put an episode up, people kind of related to who we were, seeing the same thing all the time. But I bought a drone for myself too, and it lasted about 3 days. I'm no drone expert. It's still sitting in pieces in the hunting room. So I'll leave the drone footage up to him, I guess.
Yeah.
I still need to get that thing fixed.
Oh, man.
So
That sounds like
stinks.
something that would happen to me, man. I'd get it and they'd be broken in 2 hours or something like that. That's crazy.
They seem like fun until you actually try to use them.
I do like
They're tough.
the cool, you have when the truck's pulling and stuff like that, the cool pans and stuff like that from the drone. I like that. I think it's really neat.
yeah, he's definitely a lot better with the drone driving than me. I think, like I said, probably 3 days I had it. I bought a good one, for the show and stuff. And whenever you're driving the drone away from you, all the controls are, the way you would think they would be. But when the drone's coming at you, they're backwards. And I was pretty close to some trees, and I meant to move, to the left. It went right into the trees about 70 feet in the air, and it's still in pieces.
Nice.
So
Now, do you guys film just pretty much everything, or do you talk about what you're going to film as far as trying to put those clips together and make an actual video come together? Like the walking in and everything else, the recovery.
The B-roll. We just kind of, we pretty much try to film as much as we can. So that way, you do have enough to put together for a video. And prime example for that, like my doe video that I just released, I think last week there. You know, I got off work late. We went over there. TJ filmed some, you know, walking in.
Mm-hmm.
We got in there. Deer were already in where we wanted to hunt. So we didn't film any of the, you know, getting up in the tree, doing all that stuff. Shot a quick interview, and here come 5 doe. Shot one of those and the recovery. So, I mean, I definitely like it better to have the B-roll because it kind of tells the story and puts everything together. But we don't really, you know, we just try to capture everything. Well, there's no like set, you know, we got to film this, we got to film that. We just kind of try to capture everything, you know, birds, just anything that you see doing anything. You know, we just try to capture it, you know, to tell the story and, you know, make a video. So you have something to put together because, I mean, obviously everyone watches YouTube. They want to see the shot and that's pretty much it, what you got. But it's kind of nice to have everything and then roll into it and whatnot. So
No, I can dig that. So you said that you killed doe this year and you killed a buck this year, and the buck wasn't necessarily on film, but you want to go into that a little bit? Tell me about your season.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much, the buck that I killed, I knew that it was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the area that we were hunting, I had early season pictures of it in velvet still, and typical PA shooter buck disappeared as soon as it lost velvet. So I moved one of my cameras. There was probably about a 40-acre cornfield right outside of the logged area where I was hunting. And I moved the camera in. I actually put 3 cameras along that cornfield to see. And we were getting pictures of them at night coming in and out of the cornfield. So we played our cards right. We stayed out of there as much as we could. And the farmer cut the cornfield. So I knew. So I moved my cameras back again. And the week prior, TJ actually was in there and shot a doe, which was one of the episodes. And when I went in there with TJ that day, I made a mock scrape and moved all my cameras back. Yeah. And that's just one of the things. I love making scrapes. I mean, that's mid-October, something big that I do, but it don't work on like every property. There's 3 farms that I hunt religiously, and one gets a lot of archery pressure and the other 2 don't. So mock scrapes work pretty decent. Yeah. So we snuck in there, pulled the trail camera cards that night that I shot that buck after the cornfield was all cut and everything. And lo and behold, that scrape that I made, he was hitting it a couple times a day.
That's awesome.
And we were sitting in there, and I had a pretty good feeling. I mean, you pulled the card. He was there at 11 o'clock that morning when we were in there, and he was usually hitting at about 6:40 at night.
Yeah.
And pretty regularly the last couple of days. It was a week apart whenever I made the mock scrape and reset the cameras back. So, I mean, I just had a really good feeling. I even told TJ, you know, I think we're going to at least see him.
Yeah.
So sitting there in the stand, you know, today, sitting on the phone, messing around. I look to my left because it's not even prime time yet, you know. It's about 6 o'clock. And I look over to my left, and I could see just the hindquarters of a deer standing behind some of the brush piles that they had pushed. I told TJ, you know, hey, there's a deer over there and whatnot. And it seemed like forever. And he finally lifted his head, and he turned to the right, and I could see the one G2 on his one side's like, I think it's 12.5 inches long.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
big
it
G2.
makes him look so lopsided because the one G2 is just crazy long. So I told him, I said, there he is. So, I mean, I think there was 45 minutes almost of film of that buck in between. You know, he knew, like I said, they're right to the right of us where that stand is. There's a hillside, and the wind kept bouncing off it and swirling back to us. And
like an eddy.
Yeah, he kept getting, you know, he knew something was up. And he was actually coming to us. There were some does that came out of the brush piles beside us. So he started working towards us. You know, like I said, TJ shut the camera off, whatever. And he kept licking his nose. And I knew that, you know, he wasn't coming any closer. He turned to start walking away. Like I said, it wasn't on camera or whatnot, but it was 42 yards. Because especially anywhere I hunt, I like to range a lot when I first get in a stand. Landmarks and stuff.
I do the same thing, man.
Remember. So I knew he was at 40. I put the my single pin at 40 and, you know, smoked him. So, yeah, it's I mean, it's definitely a bummer. Even thinking about it now, it's a bummer that we didn't get it fully on camera because that was our, you know, first good buck down on the ground when we had the camera equipment. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think the success with that one was playing the cards right. he was in there a lot in the summertime in velvet. I knew he was sticking to the area. It was his core area. And as soon as he lost velvet, he disappeared. And that's when I made the change to move the cameras to figure out where he was at.
Yep.
And just from the years, I've been hunting that area since I've been 12. And anytime they have corn standing, that's where they all are.
That's where they're going.
Yep.
So he pretty much lined that one side coming into the logged area with cameras, and sure enough, that's where he was staying. So I knew as soon as they cut that corn, it was definitely time to make a move and get in there, and it definitely paid off. So
Yeah, you knew when you lined that with it, he was going to show up on one camera if he was in there.
yeah.
It's tough when they get in that corn, man. It's the ultimate cover for them, and they're just hard to kill. I know property we have, same thing. Until they cut that corn, it's really tough. They just bed in the corn. And then once they cut it, they all kind of move down into the wood line, and then you have an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
To try to kill them out in the middle of a cornfield in archery with hundreds of acres of wide open field.
Well, they don't have any reason to get up in daylight either.
No.
They can just sit and eat while they're there,
I watched one come right out of it this year. He was bedded right in there. I never knew he was there. He was probably only 50, 60 yards away. Last light, and I just hear the corn moving, and up come a smaller buck, not a big buck, but here he comes. Just walked right out of the corn and fed on the corn and worked into the middle of the field.
Yeah.
That was it. It's like you're never going to kill that deer.
No.
Not unless you try to.
Comes down, man.
Yeah, unless you try to stalk him on the ground. Good luck with a bow.
I know last year when we were out there, it was probably his corn didn't come out until late, and we were out there in the morning, and he started combining corn, and he was chasing that one buck through the corn with the combine. It was cracking me up, man. I was just sitting in the stand watching it.
He chased a wood landowner. He chased a deer last year. We were out hunting in the morning. He knew we were there, and there was a pretty good buck up in the top of his field, but it was a half rack. And he ended up getting on the combine or the truck or something, and ended up chasing it down to us.
It was pretty funny.
That was pretty cool. He's just such a good guy, though. That's kind of the stuff he ends up doing for us. He goes above and beyond, and I appreciate it. I still have to bring out my meat to him.
Yeah.
It's been in my freezer.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed you said you do a lot of scrapes.
Yeah.
So are you putting scents in the scrape? Are you doing fresh dirt? Are you putting, just you in the scrape? Or
No, I have, and that's one thing. People talk about, peeing out of the tree stands, all that stuff. There's been times that I've had really good bucks on camera in the daylight on scrapes that I've just, peed in myself.
Yep.
This specific scrape, in the last couple of years, I've been using the Black Widow lures.
Okay.
They've been seeming to do really well. And the thing about, just like anybody else having a full-time job, they show up at the wrong time when you're not there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's usually what happens to me year after year. And I've noticed, I actually every year will write down in a book that I keep as far as temperatures.
I do the same thing, man.
How
I keep
many
like a
deer
hunting
I've
journal.
seen. Yeah, how many deer I've seen, what the pressures were, the wind, everything. So whenever I have a scrape out, I'll mark when I put a scrape out, certain areas and whatnot. Because like I said, some farms, it just depends on pressure. I'll make scrapes, and the good bucks will still show up at night because you got 5 other guys in there. And, are they smoking cigarettes in their tree stands? Are they washing their clothes? Are they, watching the wind, whatnot? So,
Yep.
I'll mark in there. And usually about the 13th, 14th of October, I'll start looking for scrapes or put one out along a doe bedding area just to see what I get cameras over it. Yeah, I've had really good success with the Black Widow lures. And like I said, if I wasn't working full-time and did hunting full-time, I definitely could have capitalized on some really good bucks that showed up at, 1:30 in the afternoon while I'm sitting at work, and I go and pull the trail camera, and, they were there.
Oh, yeah.
And whatnot. But I definitely, I don't have no real preference on the scents. I definitely, dominant buck, and as long as it's fresh, a lot of stuff you go to Walmart and buy and whatnot. And I chose the Black Widow lures just because you can only get them at like Dunham's. They're not like mass produced through Walmart and just kind of like everywhere you go. There's only a select few box stores that carry them, so I figured I'd try something different, and it definitely it's definitely proven itself. That's the first deer that I've killed off it. Was that buck this year. But like I said, if I would be in the woods, I could have killed other really good bucks that have worked the scrape.
No, that's awesome, man. I've tried doing scrapes a few times, and I've got some bucks on them. most of the time they're not daylight. It's not all nocturnal stuff, but I've used lures a few times, but I never really had a whole lot of luck with them. And now if I make a mock scrape, I just tend to pee in it myself. And that's what I've done for the past couple of years. And, you know, I noticed this year, more than anything, I saw so much scraping activity this year. That and rubs galore. I mean, typical years, especially towards the end of October, mid-October, like you were saying, man, they start popping up. And this year, it blew me away. It was like every property I went to was tore up from the floor up, man.
Yeah.
It was just nuts.
I don't know. I've seen some pretty good activity this year as far as sign goes, too, as well, I would say. A lot with where the oaks are, where the acorns are dropping, the does are spending a lot of time. That's where I'd see most of the activity, I would say.
That was a big factor this year, too, man. There was 2 of the properties that I hunt. The one in particular, man, it was literally a carpet of white oaks this year.
It's crazy.
Absolutely incredible. And last year was nothing. It was red oaks like crazy, but this year white oaks. And I've heard from a lot of guys from across the state that white oaks they were good, but they weren't like phenomenal. We had a phenomenal crop on this place. It just blew my mind. And
it was weird. Some properties, you got a ton of acorns.
Yep.
Other properties, you'd have some, but not like that. And out to your property, man, that one spot just unbelievable.
Let me put it this way. I was out there last week. There's still so many acorns. They were tearing through the whole hillside was dug up. They were still getting after those white oaks. I couldn't believe it.
It's crazy.
I mean, white oaks are definitely king.
Oh,
If there's white oaks, I mean, I definitely early season archery hunt
big time
where the white oaks are, and I've seen some really good bucks. You know, the early part of archery season, and they're sucking them up, you know, like a Hoover vacuum. So, I mean, the one farm that I hunt has a lot of white oak usually, but this year it wasn't real productive.
See, that's what I'm hearing from most guys. Like,
it was like hit or miss per property.
Super
almost.
hit or miss this year.
Weird, because I know a part of public land that we hunt too. Same thing. It got crushed with acorns. I mean, there was literally just acorns piled everywhere. We went out there in rifle season, then same thing. They're still eating on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's just a ton. But then I go to a lot of other properties where I know there's good white oaks, and the crop wasn't the same. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Plus, up our camp, a lot of the acorns fell early, and they were still green. Those deer crushed them. There's no acorns to be found almost by mid archery season. They were all gone.
Yeah.
Like they sucked them all up. They were coming in all summer long and eating them when they were falling. They fell early. I don't know what that was all about. It was weird. I've never seen it like that before. Like they were still really green and small, and then they were all falling, and deer just destroying them.
Yeah, I don't know.
They loved them.
they do love them, man.
So unfortunately, you can't hunt them in August, September when they were falling.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned about your journal, and I had a question that came up. Have you seen a trend yet since you started keeping the journal in buck activity in certain properties, certain times of the year?
Historical data, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, back when I was just starting to archery hunt, I wouldn't see a good buck till late November. You know what I mean? If I was lucky. So since I've been keeping, track of everything, the past 2 years, the first week of archery, I've had, a chance at shooters. And actually, last year was the one that I had missed whenever I was trying to sell film. And then this year, I had a junior hunter with me. Figured, what the heck, first night, of archery, get him out, get his first deer with a bow. And we were planning on just shooting a doe. Same thing, shooter buck. I filmed it, probably about 140-inch 9-point came out right beside us, but we were too focused on the does.
Oh,
came
man.
out. So it was actually a really good first night this year. The temperatures were low and the pressure was pretty high.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he showed himself. He unfortunately couldn't get a shot, but got some good footage of it. But I definitely say that it has helped me pick spots because, like I said, I'll write down each day what the pressures are and how many deer I see, kind of what they're doing, if they're feeding, if they're chasing. If they're just cruising through, if it's just a transition area, whatnot. So I definitely think it's definitely helped put me on, some of the, I would say experience too coming with it. It definitely has helped narrow it down, to kind of choose different locations, whether I'm hunting close to bedding areas or food sources or whatnot, per night, which night and stuff. So I'd say it's helped.
Yeah.
It seems to.
That totally makes sense. Now, are you using it just from like what you're seeing out when you're hunting, or are you using also from what you're gathering on your trail cameras?
Usually just whenever I'm in the stand.
Okay.
Because I try to file everything as best as I can with trail cameras and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I usually, mainly, most of my log is just, from in the stand, where I'm at. I'll even mark down in there, if I move a stand, things like that time of year. And that really has paid off too, because you can see the time change when they kind of transition from the feeding pattern until they start, staying in the woods more when the pressure starts coming on, stuff like that. So, yeah. I definitely, if people aren't keeping a log, I definitely recommend it. A hunting journal. And like I said, I try to write down, the pressures, the temperature, the wind direction. People don't realize that, but, even on wind directions, different nights, I see different bucks on different wind direction nights and stuff. It's just
big time, man. I pay attention to wind direction more than anything, because there's certain stands. It might be a predominant north wind on that stand most of the time. And if you go in on that wind, and I got a stand for that location, and you might see certain bucks, but if you get like that first south wind, you might see totally different deer activity, and it just blows your mind, man. That's why I love writing that stuff down. And like, it's cool hearing you say the same thing, like you're doing that. And I've been doing that for a while now, and it's really, I've been able to tell over the past few years, like historical data, like this stand on this date, if it's this wind, typically pretty good. And I don't know, I found it pretty useful.
Yeah, it's definitely a game changer, especially anybody that's new into hunting and trying to learn, teach themselves and whatnot. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, big time.
Even if you're experienced, even if you're experienced, I'm always up in the air what stand to go to all day at work. I'm trying to decide where to go and stuff, and it definitely helps make the decision easier.
Yeah, big time. Well, you mentioned that you went on an out-of-state trip this year. Where'd you go?
I went to Northwest Missouri.
Northwest Missouri. What made you decide to go there?
It's just I've always wanted to go on a Midwest hunt. We were actually planning to go to Kansas.
Oh, dude, Kansas is awesome.
So, is what happened was me and my buddy Micah, we were planning on going to Kansas anyway. He's usually the guy that I travel with. They actually have their own show too, that Toth Outdoor Productions. They film and stuff there. Just getting started too. But we were going to go to Kansas, and whenever we went to do the drawing, you actually have to pay in full for Kansas.
Yes.
Yep. And we didn't know that. So we thought, shit, well, we didn't set the money aside for that after Christmas and whatnot, because it's at the beginning of the year. So I was just doing some research, and I seen Missouri was over the counter, $225. I said, heck, let's go to Missouri. So we were just planning on going out and hunting public land in Missouri and just seeing if we could get it done. I was actually looking on Craigslist the one day at work. And Craigslist horror stories,
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm looking at work, and I see a land lease for Missouri advertising for hunts. And I actually had to go to a meeting at work, so I told Mike, I said, call this guy up. And I kind of didn't really want to talk to him either. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I figured I'd set him up for it.
Hey, you could come stay at my place.
So Micah called, and he texted me back, and he said, hey, I think you found a gold mine, really with this guy. And I said, I thought he was joking, being sarcastic. And he said, no, really. He said, this guy's got property in Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, the whole 9 yards. It's actually Twisted Oak Hunts, which they have, social media and all that stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
So we did a ton of research. We reached out to guys that had hunted with him before and whatnot. And, they said, he was the real deal and stuff like that. So, because, awesome. Finding somebody on Craigslist and talking over the phones.
You never know.
Big difference. So we opted out to, instead of hunting publicly and to better our chances of shooting a good buck, we decided to book with Bill at the Twisted Oak Hunts. And it paid off. There was 3 of us that went out in a group, and 2 out of 3 of us shot bucks.
Awesome.
Micah's younger brother, Isaac, he shot which the genetics are insane out there.
Really?
Because he shot a 143-inch, it was 11 point, and it was a 2.5-year-old deer.
Wow. Oh, man.
And then the buck that I shot, it was the last evening. We were out there for a 6-day hunt. we were seeing Isaac shot a good shooter at the one place, and we were seeing a lot of shooters, but it just wasn't working out for us. So Bill, and that's one nice thing about him too, because most places you go to an outfitter, you're on the property. You're there. You get a buck, you don't get a buck.
Yeah.
They don't care. They got their money.
It is what it is, yeah.
So last day, Bill moved me and Micah both because we didn't have a buck. And I ended up shooting that buck that night on the new farm he put us on. And we both seen good buck that night too. And it started snowing about 1:30. And I honestly was thinking, I'm going home empty-handed, but it was still a great experience.
Yeah.
My first out-of-state whitetail hunt. And the snow was just coming down. I could hear grunting coming up because they're just like little draws out there. It's totally different from hunting in PA. You hunt the edges and the draws. So I could hear grunts coming up the draw. I seen this doe coming, flying up through, and my heart was racing. I'm expecting to see this giant, And here comes this little 4-point, and just totally kills it. But so I'm sitting there, and it's just snowing away. That buck chases that doe off, and just sitting there and thinking about, really, it's a bummer I didn't get to kill a deer, but it was a, good experience. And I happened to turn around and look to my right, and right down the soybean field edge, about 25 yards behind me, was the buck that I shot. He had a broken G3 on the right side, so he probably would have been about a 130-inch deer. I knew he's a mature buck.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely chose to take the shot. And actually, I was freaking out. There was like 20 minutes left of shooting light. And I have one of the squat archery releases that folds back.
Oh,
and I bought that specific for like self-filming because my old release would hit the camera arm.
Yeah, you know,
and I'd
clanking
get
around
busted.
everywhere.
So I'm not even filming down there because I didn't have a camera guy. So I just said, heck with it. I took all the film equipment, but I said, heck with it. I'm just going to hunt. So I got that release flipped back because I had my hands in my pocket because it's snowing. So he already passed through my shooting lane to my right side. It snuck right behind me, with the snow. You can't hear him. So I turned to my left, and I'm ready. I got the bow in my hand, pin set, and I go to clip my release on, and I'm freaking out because I have just a small shoot lane before he goes into all this multi-thorn rose to the right of me. And I'm going to clip for my release. There's no release, and I'm like freaking out watching this deer. I hurry up, reach down, flip my release up, go to clip it on again. Well, I have the trigger closed. So I'm watching this deer just like pretty much walk away with 20 minutes of light left on my last night. So finally, I get it on the string, draw back, and, the pressure out there is just crazy. If you bleeded a deer around here to stop it, they look dead at you in the tree. I bleeded, stopped that buck. He stopped and he continued to look straight forward. He never even knew what hit him. Good double lung shot, passed through, and he went about 40 yards. And it was weird because he was quartered away just a little bit. My arrow passed through. I had a luminoc, everything on it, snow in a soybean field. I could not find my arrow anywhere. So I don't know if it hit the ground and skipped down into the woods.
And it might have been.
Or whatnot, but it's definitely, if you have the money and time to go out there to the Midwest, it's a whole another ball game out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's, the average deer that we seen were, shooters, especially coming from PA. And I had in my mind the whole time out there, because my biggest buck from PA here is 137 inches. So I said I was going to shoot 140 or better out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like we said already, we're hunters.
Dude,
and,
last day,
you
20 minutes left. Burning a hole in your pocket.
Yeah. So, and it's not like I shot, a 2.5-year-old 130-inch deer out there because Bill, he does manage.
Oh, yeah.
It's 130-inch minimum, and he wants, mature deer shot. But I knew, and like he said, he was definitely happy for me and happy that I took the deer, especially my last day, because, 5 years old, it should have been a 170-inch deer out there. So, it was definitely a win-win for both of us, and, it was awesome. And we're going back out next year.
Nice.
We're already booked up.
That's awesome.
I already called dibs on some of the farms that I know are pretty good producers. The guys were already there. So, yeah, all in all, it was definitely a great experience. Even if I was self-filming out there, it would have never happened. I would have either not got it on film at all, or I would have missed the opportunity at the buck.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, that happens, man. I saw pictures of that buck. It was a really good buck. You
Yeah,
could
it's
tell
a
he
nice
was
buck.
old. He had that blocky head, and
he had a 22-inch neck, and he weighed 206 pounds field dressed.
oh yeah,
Wow.
that's a tank,
So,
man.
I mean, it was
Horse.
definitely. I that buck that I shot here in PA, I think it was 181 pounds field dressed, and that's a big deer.
That's a big deer.
Mhm.
And I mean, I shot that one out there, and I got up to it, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this thing is like, it was huge."
What do I even do with this deer?
And then I forgot my knife, so thank
Oh,
goodness
yeah.
that me and Bill, we only had to drag it probably about. He came and helped me, but we only had to drag it probably about 100 yards to the road.
Yeah,
It was a workout.
I can only
It was
imagine,
even with
man.
the snow. It was just it was crazy. But I mean, yeah, like I said, if anybody has the time and the money, I mean, the Midwest, it's definitely where it's at. And even guys out there, there's no archery hunting whatsoever. Really, a lot of them guys don't. They're big into bird hunting out there.
Oh,
they
yeah.
thought we were absolutely nuts coming out there to hunt deer from Pennsylvania. So
It's crazy that you say that because I've gone out to North Dakota a bunch of times bird hunting, and man, I've seen some absolute slammer bucks out there.
Yeah.
And you talk to guys and like, yeah, they might hunt in rifle season a little bit, but most of them are farmers. They don't have a whole hell of a lot of time to hunt, and I can only imagine some of the deer you can get on out there. And tags aren't that bad, but drive out to North Dakota, it's a hike.
yeah.
It's definitely a hike. But we saw some slammers, man, and everybody bird hunts out there. That's pretty much what it is, you know?
Yeah. It's tough. I looked into a couple of those same states. Missouri. Problem with Missouri was you went early enough, but the time frame we like to go, their gun season comes in.
Mm-hmm. You got to
Early.
buy another license
Yeah,
too. That's what's
so-
weird about out there, because we were archery hunting out there. So you buy your first $225 license because you can shoot $2 out there.
Oh, sweet.
So you buy your first license and it runs till mid-November, which was the last day we were there. And then that Saturday, that first license is no longer good, and you buy another rifle. It's a rifle license and archery. So we met one guy out there that has just monsters all through his. He's a real estate agent, and he has monsters just everywhere. And that's how. I mean, he's got property, and he gets to shoot 2 a year.
I can
And
imagine the property he can get on by being a real estate agent.
I mean, he does, and you see him, and you never expect this guy to be an archery hunter. You know what I mean? And then you go in there, and it's like, oh my God, giants, just giants everywhere. But he gets to shoot 2 a year, and he definitely manages well on the properties he owns, and it definitely shows. But yeah, it's. I mean, you got to experience it for yourself if being out there. So,
Dude, like season's almost over, and I'm like jacked up again. Like I want it to be archery
know.
season again. It's killing me.
That's the hard part.
It is.
We got Ohio. I do want to go over to Ohio and
We're
get
gonna
some
do
more
some
hunts
late
in.
season in Ohio. It'll be good.
I do want to get over there before I start my new job, so I get the time on my hand. Oh, I didn't tell you about that.
We'll talk about it after.
I got a month.
Oh,
Roughly,
no. All
yeah,
right, we'll get it
so-
done. It'll be good.
We got some time. I'm thinking rabbit hunting probably tomorrow. I don't know. I got this cold going right now, but
Oh, yeah.
I want to get Daisy out and see what she's made of.
Yeah, that
New
should be
dog.
good.
Let's see what she got.
Absolutely. So you're a deer hunter. You're a turkey hunter. What else do you hunt in PA? You a bear hunter? You a waterfowl hunter? You a porcupine hunter?
nah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I do pretty much everything. Bear hunt,
Yeah.
waterfowl hunt. I mean, everyone always asks me what my favorite is. I mean, it's just, since I've been little and able to hunt, I mean, my passion's been whitetail.
Yeah.
But I've grown to really love the waterfowl hunting. And 2 years ago, I went and picked up a dog in Kentucky. Drove 11 and a half hours to get this dog. And she's a lab, but she does pretty good. And I just, with work and all the other hunting and stuff, I don't have the time to put into her. But she does pretty well. I mean, yeah, I do it all. It drives my family nuts because most of my family, I mean, I grew up around hunting, just like most people around this area did. Cousins, uncles. My uncle always took me hunting when I was younger and whatnot. They all pretty much just deer hunt. Some of them turkey hunt. And then you got me, like holidays, like Thanksgiving this year. I'm out goose hunting, and stuff. I mean, I'm out hunting and whatnot. But it's hard to say. I mean, waterfowl's definitely been a big passion of mine here lately. But nothing's going to top the whitetail. And I love spring turkey hunting too.
Yeah,
I just love
I have
it.
a blast.
So, I mean, there's no end in sight, really. I mean, I pretty much hunt everything that's in season here in PA, but definitely the whitetail and waterfowl take up a lot of my time.
Oh man, I can imagine. And it's kind of nice being in PA. I mean, for a good majority of the year, we have something in season to
for
hunt.
something.
You know, that's always cool. And my wife is very gracious. She lets me hunt quite a bit. But it always seems like she's asking me, like, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Oh, it's last day of archery." "What are you doing this weekend?" "Oh, it's the last day of rifle season." "What are you doing this weekend?" "Oh, it's the last day of late season." And the next thing you know, it's the last day of turkey season.
The question is always usually, what season is it now? What are you hunting
always
now?
In season, man. I love that.
It's small game. It's this, it's that. But I think what makes, you said about spring gobbler, I think what makes that so special is it's one season that has its own season to itself.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. There's nothing else coming in or out, intermingling. It's boom, and it's the first time of the year that gets you into the woods. And man, I love spring gobbler.
I do
Something
too.
about just
minus the poison ivy.
Oh,
I get poison ivy
dude.
so bad, it's not even funny. I actually for 2 years didn't spring gobbler hunt because I would get it so bad.
Oh man.
And I was like, you know what? These turkeys aren't even worth it. I mean, so for 2 years I quit. But.
I have poison ivy from March through November. It's just continuous. It's nonstop. It doesn't matter what I do. You get into it in southern Ohio, man. Everywhere you go in the area where we hunt is literally nothing but poison ivy. It's everywhere. The way it grows up trees and just consumes everything out there, it's unreal. Yeah. There's no getting away from it. I was climbing trees that I knew other people had hunted just because they had already done the work and cut all the poison ivy off it. I was like, I don't care. Who cares? A running buck might still walk by. I'm not getting poison ivy again.
It's the worst, especially in hunting season, especially spring turkey. You got your, your flannel on and you're just sweating and it's so itchy. And then, I work in a mill during the day and it's hot. I mean, I just hate poison ivy. And like I said, for 2 years there, I said, it's not even worth it. All my buddies were turkey hunting and stuff. And I said, nope. I'll stay right at home.
Oh, man.
So,
I've learned how to identify it pretty well and avoid it as much as possible. But, man, sometimes it's hard. You get on a bird and you have to last minute jump into a pile.
Yeah.
Yeah, guess what's in that pile?
Yeah.
Bunch of poison ivy and you're looking down and you're like, shit. I'm going to have to clean everything, wash everything when I get home, and then not touch anything.
That blows my mind because I'm not bragging by any means.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't
You're
get
lucky.
poison ivy. I am very lucky, and most of my friends, like him and Biagio and Anthony, they can look at it and they get it. So
it's bad.
Your brother even this year was sending me Snapchats and stuff when he was at the woods. He's like, I guess I'm getting poison ivy today. This is the only tree I can climb. And it was literally, the tree was made of poison ivy is what it looked like. And,
I would have just went home.
Yeah, that was dumb. I wouldn't have done that. But then the next time you went out, you got a brain and cut it all down. So
yeah,
at least it would die off and then not have to do that again. But it is. I mean, some of the perfect trees, you just look at them and you're like, 2 vines of poison ivy up them. Is this worth it?
Yeah. I can dig that.
The dumb stuff we do.
Yeah, it's a hobby and it's a passion. I don't know. I like it.
It's a bit more of a hobby, I would think, the hunting. Like you said, filming.
Poison ivy.
Poison ivy is a hobby. But yeah, filming's more of a hobby. The hunting, that's more of a lifestyle, I would say, than even a passion.
Absolutely.
It's a little cliche, but it is. It's what we do all year round.
Yeah.
It's what we look forward to all year round when we're not doing it.
Absolutely.
Now, what about fishing? You do any fishing?
That's what's surprising to people. I don't really fish at all.
Mm.
I mean, I just never got into the fishing. I mean, which my girlfriend and everyone's real happy that I don't fish.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just, I don't know what it is. I mean, I grew up, my mom had 5 ponds there behind our house where we lived. And, I just kind of wore myself out, I think, when I was younger, fishing all the time, bass fishing, whatnot. But that's just something that I don't even think I've ever trout fished, honestly. I mean,
really?
It's just something that, I never got into was the fishing. My daughter does a little bit of fishing, so I'll go with her.
Yeah.
But it's not something that, I'm out there fishing all the time or, whatnot. It's not really my cup of tea.
You're
Social
ate
fishing.
up with hunting.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, man.
That's kind of how I funny though, I transitioned. I was more of a bass fisherman, walleye fisherman, crappie bluegill kind of thing, hardcore. And then anymore I've gotten, and I never liked trout fishing. I always hated that. I hate fishing streams, everything. But now over the last probably 3 years, I've really gotten more into trout fishing and had that more as of a challenge that I've taken on, that I've really enjoyed trout fishing more than probably anything, which is weird, but I don't know why. I don't know if it's a challenge, but this year it was like, even though everyone's like, hey, let's go walleye fishing. I love walleye fishing. It was like, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. Like, just, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go out and drive 45 minutes and spend 4 hours casting and reeling, catch a couple fish. And I was like, I'll just wait till hunting season.
Yeah, I can take that.
It's kind of how I felt. Just wait till hunting season.
Well, where do you see MNP going? You know, what are your goals with MNP? Are you trying to really grow and expand, or are you just trying to keep it as a hobby, or what do you?
I mean, I'm just, social media these days, I mean, it's, it can really go anywhere, but, I'm just kind of letting it grow on its own. And actually, that's what we're deciding right now, because the MNP is actually my daughter's initials. I mean, I looked and looked for a name, and every time I would Google a name when I first started this, somebody had already had it. So I just decided, it was just me in the beginning. So I just used my daughter's initials, and she was real pumped, because like I said, she's in hunting and whatnot. But now that I get a few guys that are a part of it, and we're getting bigger and stuff, there may be a name change here in the future. Okay. I might just change, it's not going to be new accounts or anything. I'm just going to change the name, logo on, the pages. We haven't decided on a newer name, but just kind of to professionalize it a little bit, kind of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have, any major plans to, I just kind of, I put it out there for people to see it, enjoy it, whatever, see what we're getting, seeing how, everything went down, kind of help people out with what we're doing, how we're doing it. I would love to quit my day job and hunt all the time. I mean, who wouldn't? Man. But, I definitely, there's so many people that do that stuff now.
Yeah.
That, maybe 10 years ago, it might have went somewhere big. But if it keeps going, and like I said, with the name change coming up here, eventually, and we get some good films and stuff down, I may apply for like the Carbon TV or something.
Absolutely.
And I don't expect to get rich off it, because whether I'm getting paid or not, I'm going to hunt.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it all started as a hobby, and it just kind of took off. I mean, so I'm not looking for it to be life changing or anything, really. I just keep hunting, and if it gets big, it gets big, and if it stays the same, it stays the same.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, you know what though? That's a great attitude to have, and that's kind of the same attitude we have with this. We're gonna do it either way. You know, we're gonna talk about hunting. If it goes anywhere, it goes anywhere. If not, we get to talk to some cool people like you and hang out and drink a beer and talk about deer hunting. That's what we like to do. So that's cool, man.
That's what drives my girlfriend nuts, because anywhere we go, if there's somebody that hunts, we're there for like 4 hours, because I talk, whether I met them before or not. It's just, it drives her nuts. But yeah, it's whether I'm getting paid to do it or I'm working as a supervisor still. I mean, I'm still going to hunt.
Oh yeah.
So,
I'll tell you what, man, a couple months here, we do a annual event called the Kill and Grill. It's where all of our buddies, all the people that hunt and kind of outdoorsmen, and even people that don't hunt, we all gather together. Everybody brings something that they harvested during the year as a meal, and we just have a big ass party. But I'll tell you what, if you're interested in joining, we usually do it around March, probably.
Yeah, probably March.
March or April.
Yep.
You'd be more than welcome to come by, and just, like I said, we have a big ass fire, tons and tons of food, phenomenal food, and it's just literally people talking about hunting the whole time.
Count me in.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
You'll have to fight my girlfriend for some deer meat or something, because, I mean, as much as she complains about hunting, I mean, I get everything ground and make roast and whatever, and she devours the jerky more than I do and whatnot, the hot stick. Yeah, she hoards that deer meat from everybody. People will stop over and want some deer meat or something, she's pretty stingy with it, but all hunting season, she's, you're hunting again? What do you mean you're hunting?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a good thing, though, because it is one of the things that one of these days we had to talk about how annoying it is. People, everywhere you go, people are like, yeah, how'd you do this year? And, yeah, man, I did good. I killed, so-and-so number of deer. oh man, I'd love to get some deer meat. I'd love to have some backstrap. Well, no shit, I bet you would. I'd love to have some backstrap too. But I also wouldn't love to put, well, I do love to put those hours in the woods. I can't say that, but it's like, you know, how many people come up to you and like, hey man, I'd like some deer meat. It's like, ah, cool. Well, yeah, tough shit.
Yeah.
So it's good she has that attitude and doesn't just give away all your hard work and effort.
Yeah, she doesn't enjoy all that hard work though.
Yeah.
It's, you know, but she's definitely, I mean, she's getting used to it. And I mean, my mom even, she grew up with, you know, me, my brother, and her boyfriend hunting nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
And she still complains to me all the time about it. But she's the same way. That deer meat, you know, making hamburgers, saving all that money on the ground meat.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And whatnot. She's not sharing. So.
That's cool though, man. That's real cool.
Yeah, that kill and grill gets crazy, man. I mean,
I love
everybody brings all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's turkey, there's turtle, there's venison, there's, I mean, I bring goose a lot of the time. And
I've seen bear there, mahi. What do we have? I think someone one time brought either like raccoon or porcupine or something weird. Something weird
did
like
bring
that.
something weird, yeah.
But it was good as hell.
It was good. It was good.
I've never had anything bad there. A lot of pheasant and rabbit and squirrel and deer meat. I mean, tons and tons of deer meat. But like you said, it's just a bunch of good old boys getting together, having a party, eating beautiful meat that we basically harvest throughout the year. It's a good time, man.
Yeah.
Good conversation, good people. Everyone's always welcome. You know, if you're listening to this, you get a hold of me before you just show up, though. Okay, not everyone's welcome. But no, you'd be more than happy. I'd be more than happy to have you there. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, we usually do it, I think, early April every year. Because I remember it's usually around the end of tax season for me. We have it.
You and your taxes.
I
Whatever.
know. I know.
No, it's good, man. But
Pain in the butt.
well, we're getting closer to the end of the time here, man. You want to go ahead and plug MNP Outdoors?
Just let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe on there. Definitely, if you're following along now, like I said, we might be having a name change. You know, if you get on there and see the stuff, make sure to subscribe or follow, because once the name change goes, if you search MNP Outdoors, you won't be able to find anything, but you'll still have all the same content and whatnot, and it's definitely, you know, worth looking at. I guess, you know, we're like everybody else, you know, out there working full time and just hunting and just living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Really. I mean,
Daily
Really
grind.
sharing what you love, man. I
Yeah.
mean, that's...
I mean, it's
nothing wrong with
real life. It ain't on TV where you see them, you know. We're out there putting the time in the woods, you know, making all the mistakes and, you know, learning. And it's, you know, it's just reality.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think you guys ought to start post more videos, even the mistakes or the non-kills, you know, because I know we follow personally the hunting public, and they do a lot of films, and I bet you maybe a tenth of their films is the actual kill, but I really enjoy just seeing their day-to-day experiences. Like you said, the stuff you see in the woods is not like anything else you see anywhere else. You know, a cool experience might not be just killing a deer. It could be seeing a fox or, you know, something just neat. So, and just a suggestion, I really like what you guys are doing, and what you're putting out's phenomenal. But yeah, don't be afraid to put some other content out there. You guys even just goofing around, or, you know, it's real. It's what people are going to see you guys as and what they know you as.
That's what I like.
You know, rather than just the kill, because I think you guys are more than just the kill.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think that'd be cool. Plus, I like to sit and watch a lot of videos.
Yeah, I do too, especially if it's PA, man.
Yeah,
that's
Pennsylvania
always awesome.
boys just trying to get it done. People can relate to that, and they can relate to the struggles and the constant hardships, because, man, it is tough. And like you said, you went out to Missouri and you were like flabbergasted by how different it was. Just totally different world.
Yeah, it's a big difference. I mean, I there's never a season that goes by here in PA that somebody doesn't steal my stuff, I don't catch people in my tree stands that aren't even supposed to be on the property, or, you know, I'll put all the time in the summer on a good farm and have a good buck patterned, and then next thing you know, there's Joey and everybody else hung their tree stands the week before and they're crossbow hunting and, you know, never see the buck again, and it's
man.
It's...
You know, I was actually shocked this year. This is one of the first years that I haven't had something stolen.
Really?
Blew my mind, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely blew my mind. But, you know.
I mean, even if you lock stuff, like I've locked trail cameras, they just smash them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you, you know, I
put mine in a bear box. screw it to a tree,
Yeah.
put 3-inch screws into it, and screw it to a tree with a bolt lock. They can still come in with bolt cutters and cut it open, but they ain't smashing it, man. It's protecting from bears. But I had multiple pictures of people coming right up to it, looking right at it, and I'm like, yeah, you ain't getting it. Just keep walking.
Southern Ohio's even the same way, and not the stereotypical anybody really, but most of my stuff gets stolen if it's left out in gun season, because you got all the people that are just out, and I mean that's the same way as Southern Ohio. We were leasing over there, and we had a lot of cameras on the field edges and whatnot, and all archery season they were fine, and that shotgun season came in, and we were here because I was hunting with my daughter. Their opening day opens the same time, and they had a few family friends and whatnot that were hunting, but I think there was 11 of our trail cameras stolen during shotgun season, and we went over there, my buddy Micah did, and realized that a lot of them were stolen. So I mean, it in this eastern area, I think it's just a trend, and then you get out west, because even when we were in Missouri, we were at this one farm, and these people came down and were trespassing and fishing, and I called Bill, let him know, and the game commission were there in 20 minutes, and they got fines and everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Pennsylvania, Ohio is pretty strict too, but you still got the same mentality as Pennsylvania and PA. I mean, it's a joke.
It's a joke.
I mean, it's a joke. And if you do get fined, I think it's like $75. And, because all my buddies are like, hey, let's lease property here in PA. And I'm like, I won't even waste my money.
No, not a shot.
I mean, it's just no matter what you do,
you're going to
have the problems here in PA.
Yeah.
And even Ohio, maybe not Western Ohio and stuff, but like I said, where we were hunting Southern Ohio on the eastern side here, same thing. Gun season started. Everything's gone.
Man.
It's just, I don't, I walk by people's stuff all the time in the woods, and I just leave it go. It's not mine. I don't get on other people's tree stands. It's amazing. I never get surprised in Pennsylvania anymore. People sitting in my tree stands thinking they're on somebody's property that don't even exist in the whole area, and it's just, it's amazing.
Yeah, I walked up on a guy hunting our ladder stand this year, and I just looked at him and went, what the hell are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I thought this was so-and-so stand. I'm like, no, those are our stands. And he didn't even leave. I was just, I had enough of them. Eventually we kind of got in an argument and I walked away. But like he was in that stand and I walked up because I thought it was someone that we were hunting with. I'm like, I'll go say hi real quick. I'm walking past anyways. As I'm getting close, I'm like, I don't know this person. And I'm getting real close. I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's got a crossbow and he's up in my tree stand. What's going on here? So I'm talking to him and he's like, first thing comes out of his mouth, yeah, hey man, me and my buddy are in the other stand over across the field. I'm like, oh, okay, so you're in my stand here and he's in our stand on the other side of the field, right? So you're both in both of our tree stands. That's cool. And no wonder we weren't seeing any deer in that edge, and stuff like that just drives you wild. But you don't own the property, the landowner gave him permission to hunt. Still, stay the hell out of my tree stand. It's not your tree stand. I don't climb other people's tree stands just for the safety of it.
Yeah.
If I didn't put the tree stand up, I am not putting myself up in the air 15 to 20 feet in someone else's, not knowing what they were doing.
Yeah, I've seen some tree stands around here, and I wouldn't get on them.
They're sketchy.
And people get on them.
There ain't no way in hell you're going to get me up in their tree stand.
They're sketchy, man.
Nope. But that's what we deal with, and it's a surprise we even get it done at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, sometimes especially on good bucks and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's amazing how many good bucks are starting to show up in our area and just in the surrounding counties. It's crazy.
Yeah, it blows my mind, man.
Especially with rifle season, man. Rifle season's like a madhouse.
I saw some serious hammers laid down in rifle season, and I know really big deer that I was hunting archery season got killed last week in rifle.
Has it been confirmed yet?
Yeah, it was confirmed. I saw a picture of it.
Send me that picture if you can.
I didn't. I saw it on a phone, but I'll see if I can get it. It was as big as I thought it was.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got to see it and I didn't.
Yeah, I watched him for a solid 5 minutes through my binos. I had him at like 90 yards. There was just nothing I could do, and it was what it was. And I didn't see him again that season, but was definitely as big as I thought it was. He was a hammer.
Damn it.
Yeah.
And that happens.
He's super heavy, man.
I wish they had just canceled gun season for like a couple of years.
Man. Or give us like an archery only zone or something right where we hunt.
Yeah. Archery only zone would be cool.
Yeah.
Other states do it.
Yeah.
You know, an archery only would be really, really neat to have. I mean, I couldn't even imagine the deer that would grow.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Even having Sunday hunting, man, I think I'd get on so many more deer if we had just that extra day.
Yeah, and
That'd be
people argue
huge.
about it like, oh, I walk my dog on that day. Okay, don't walk your dog for 8 days out of the year. Okay, that's it. Give
Well,
us
the thing
8
that
days.
drives me nuts, and I mean, not picking on anybody, but us hunters pay for a license for the game lands and the trails and whatnot.
Mhm.
And the hikers and everybody that's complaining about it doesn't pay the dime
Don't pay
Yeah.
shit.
towards everything. So, I mean, we don't want to get on that subject
No.
here. You know, but
That's
I
a
mean,
rabbit hole.
I mean, I definitely, I'm for Sunday hunting, even if it's waterfowl and whatnot. Even, you know, PA has so many hunters, but I definitely seen a decline in at least the areas that I hunt of people not going out or not a lot of guys archery hunting anymore, which I'm not complaining,
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
I'm not either.
But,
Yeah.
you know, it's just everybody has lives now and work and whatnot. And, you know, a lot of guys aren't paying for license, you know, to hunt the first day of rifle, maybe one Saturday and whatnot.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
But
I think beyond that too is there's not a lot of out of state hunters coming in because they know they can't hunt on Sunday. So
Sunday.
if they want to come in and hunt an extended weekend, they can only hunt, you know, maybe they get in Friday night, they can hunt Saturday, and then they got to go back home.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pay the price for an out of state hunting trip. So there's revenue that's not coming into the state from out of state that, and our out of state tag is super cheap compared to a lot of other
big
states.
time.
I mean, for what you get for it, and that's all revenue missed, I think, just because of the simple fact that they don't want you to hunt on Sundays.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, a lot of the weekend trips when we go turkey hunting and stuff, that's why we go. Kentucky.
Right.
We can get there Friday, we can hunt Saturday, Sunday, and drive home.
See?
That's
Perfect.
huge. That's
Yeah.
huge.
So,
I love it. When we go out of state, we either, you know, you can hunt Ohio and Illinois, the 2 out of state hunts we've done on Sundays. Oh, man. It's so nice.
yeah.
It's like,
It's wild after you lived in Pennsylvania your whole life and you're
Yeah.
sitting in a tree stand on Sundays. Because last year we had that lease in Ohio and I'd go over there on Sundays. I'd feel like I was like breaking the law or something,
Yeah.
sitting in a tree stand, you know.
Yeah.
you get to check your fantasy football lineup from a tree stand. There's nothing better than that.
Oh man, that's funny.
Oh, man. Well, thanks for coming out, man. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we didn't take up too much of your time, but,
Before I let you go, we didn't do one thing, man.
What?
I want to hear your number one tip for a new hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of threw you on the spot there.
Yeah, I mean, with a new hunter, especially not having the experience from family members or whatnot, it's just trial and error, really.
Yeah.
You got to put the time in the woods, and you're going to mess up, and you know, you're going to have success. I mean, I've always just, I would say my number one tip would be get out there, put the miles on the boots. You know, I do some of my best scouting here January, February, figuring out where bedding areas are. The snow's down, all the foliage is off. You know, so if you're a new hunter getting into it, that's an awesome time to get out there, figure out where the deer are bedding. I mean, if you bump deer, so what? I mean, they got 9 months to, you know, recover, whatnot. You know, that's the best tip. I mean, you got to put the miles on the boots. Get in there, figure out what the deer are doing, adapt to the environment, what the deer are doing, because even, you know, every property that I hunt is different.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would just, you know, put the mile on the boots. Like I said, January, February is definitely, I do a lot of my best scouting probably in that time. You get to find some sheds. I'm not real good at that. I don't know how some of my buddies, they find them like gold, but
We don't do
I
very
don't
good
do
at it
very well
either.
either.
I mean,
Yeah.
I go through bedding areas and everywhere, and I find little 2-point, you know, it's just crazy. I put a lot of time in the woods, and I definitely think that, you know, even if you're a new hunter, it'll definitely train you to be more efficient and more successful, knowing what the deer are doing, the environment that you're in. You know, that's just, you know, you're going to make mistakes. I've been hunting since I've been 12 years old, and I've been around family members that kill really good bucks every year and have taught me a lot. And, you know, I still make mistakes. I still screw up. I mean, it's
That's how
going
you
to
learn,
happen.
man. That's how you learn.
It's going to happen. So,
No, that's solid advice, man. That's super solid advice. I really agree with that. And that's kind of been a little bit of a trend with some people.
Mm-hmm.
Even Anthony last week, he is a new hunter, and he was saying, like, get out there and just put some
Yeah.
miles on the boots and
Yeah.
really.
I think just
Figure it
learning and like you said, learning the deer's behavior just by being out there. You're not going to learn it by doing anything else but just getting out there.
Yep.
You know, and making the mistakes and learning from mistakes and hopefully not making those mistakes again. And if you do make them again, learning from that and why, you know, always break down your successes, always break down your failures, and just ask yourself why, but it's only going to happen if you're out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially archery season, you just got to be out there enjoying nature and enjoying the wildlife and learning. You can always learn something.
Yeah, I learn something new every year.
Yeah.
I mean, there's farms I hunt, like I said, even before I could hunt, being with my uncle and whatnot,
Right.
and I still learn new stuff every year about places that I'm at. Never going to stop learning.
Things change. Stuff
big
changes.
time.
Their behaviors change. Their patterns change. You just got to be out there to see what's going on and adapt to it. So,
Time in the woods is valuable.
Yeah.
Seat time in the stand.
yeah.
If you got cheap stands, like I do, most of them, but they real sore on the behind there. But definitely worth it. It pays off.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what I bought from Missouri, that Hawk kickback stand to be comfortable. Oh, my.
You're spoiled now.
Oh, yeah. I usually buy the, $30 on sale lock-ons and stuff because people take them, whatnot.
I do the same thing
I
still.
bought that kickback and I was out there. I mean, it was a big surprise.
If you're putting a lot of time in the woods like you do, comfort does come and play a part,
Yeah, it pays
man.
off.
Big time.
Heck yeah. There's nothing better than being comfortable. That's why I missed my climber this year. I didn't use it one time. That is the most comfortable stand I possibly can hunt out of.
I don't like being that comfortable. I fall asleep.
Oh, I've taken plenty of good naps in there.
Yeah,
that's probably the
I'm
problem.
missing deer, man. Oh, man. No, that's good stuff. I appreciate you coming on, man. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Guys,
Absolutely.
check out MNP. That's MNP Outdoors. Check them out. Good
Find
stuff
them on
going on.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the good places. It's always fun. So
you can find us the same places.
You can find us the same places. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. You can also send us an email at the Whitetail Distraction Podcast at gmail.com. Hit us up.
That's it.
We
Hunting
wanna hear from
season
ya.
right now is over, but it's coming back.
Yeah, late season.
Late season, muzzleloader, extended archery. We're excited for that.
It's going to be good. Distraction's real.
It is real.